What is going on, everybody? Have you ever licked your lips a whole bunch? Then you might want to play Daemons of Slaanesh in Warhammer 40K. Today we're going to talk about the Fiends of Slaanesh. They got new models fairly recently that are just awesome. I love these things so much. I think I own 9 or 12 of them. I haven't built any of them yet, though, so I actually kind of forgot how many I got. But we're going to jump into the rules. We know they're great looking models, but are they going to be a good unit for the army? They come in at 42 points. Now, when I jump over to this other page, my face will disappear. But the volume should work just fine. So the Fiends here coming at 32 points. You can see their statistics. We got a fast move, decent strength, decent toughness, great amount of wounds. 4 wounds is a big deal. Not a lot of guns do a flat 4 damage, so you're going to take more than one shot. If you field a unit of at least 3, you can take a little champion in there, and that thing's going to give you the Blissbringer, an extra attack for free. But you got to take a unit of 3. Looks like our claws here are AP1, strength user, 2 damage, which is nice with the 4 attacks. Each time you make a wound roll of a 6, AP4 instead of AP1, which is awesome. If this happens to be near a herald, of course, you'll be strength 5, which is also cool. And then on top of your 4 attacks, actually, never mind. You have 3 attacks with your claw, and then you're gonna have to waste one of your attacks to swing your tail, which of course you're gonna do because it's AP3, D3 damage. Now, it's not significantly, D3 is probably statistically worse than the flat 2, but the AP3 is going to probably make it worth throwing this attack all the time. But that might depend on the armor value of what you're attacking. The Demon, or the Fiend of Slaanesh, has Quicksilver Swiftness, meaning it strikes first in combat. If it's near a hero, it can run and charge within 6 inches. Within 12 of any models that take a psychic test, they subtract 1 from their result. This is going to be awesome in combination with the epitome, because that one gives you +1 to deny, and then this one giving them a -1. You have a 2 advantage over the roll of a psychic test, which is awesome. Enemy units within 1 of enemy models with this ability cannot fall back unless they can fly. This is awesome. Like, you could tag a Leman Russ or, 150 point tank with a 40 point fiend, and basically you've killed it because it can never fall back from you. There's no roll, there's no special ability, it just cannot fall back. Of course, abilities like teleport or some kind of redeployment would work, but if it doesn't fly, you can just tag it. Also, like a unit of, scouts or whatever, some kind of shooty unit that doesn't have a lot of attacks. You are toughness 4 with a 5-up invuln and 4 wounds, so you could probably tie up, a small weak unit for multiple turns. If you had a big unit, then you could tie up a whole bunch of stuff and probably survive quite a while. Now, tactics-wise, I think you take a couple of these. You basically squeeze them in as you see fit. The move 14, D6 to that, and then you run, 14 plus a D6, so maximum 20 inches, and then you can charge another 2 D6 as long as there was a hero within 6 of you when you declare that charge. So if you have a hero that can keep up, like a Demon Prince with the wings or something with that +3 movement warlord trait, that would be super powerful. Remember, we're going to be leaning heavily with this army towards the first turn. We're basing our whole strategy on tying up models and units in the first turn in the beginning, and then we'll alter our strategy for some different builds, horde, and possibly a big guy build. But I think the Fiend's got some real play. I don't know if you take a 3 Fiend unit, because a 3 Fiend unit is going to be about 126 points, and it's a juicy target for your opponent to shoot at. although it is nice to have, that many attacks coming in. But when we're talking about a single fiend with 4 wounds, your opponent's going to have to put a certain amount of firepower towards that they might not want to. Whereas if it's a large unit, they will probably put plenty of firepower into it, killing the whole unit, because they're not going to want to let that just run across the battlefield. So I think the Fiends got some play. I think what we're going to do is try to squeeze in 1 or 2. They are an elite, and they're only 42 points. So if you're going for the big detachment and you need 3 elites, then you take 3 units of 1 and easy peasy. Definitely, I'm back on camera now. Definitely going to see some play. I think disrupting your opponent's psychic ability is going to be powerful or helpful. And the ability, the chance, they got a decent chance at that run and charge. I think the Slaanesh can get outplayed a bit in the deployment phase, because your opponent, if they see this coming, they're going to set back. Now, if you're playing Slaanesh against the same people every week, they're going to start doing this, and I think you're going to have a hard time. But if you're, bouncing around at some little events, or, maybe you play a wide variety of armies or people at the store that you hang out at, this might be a fun army to bust out. I don't know if I see a build with like a ton of these. If you could like warp time them or something, then for sure I would be like, take 2 units 8 or whatever. But I think these guys are going to be, I don't know. I think they're definitely worth squeezing in. They got some nice little abilities. I would think of them as just little support characters. And you're just going to go and try to tag those, those tanks that don't fly, basically. But probably not super valuable against Eldar. Although if you tag a bunch of Guardians, you probably tie them up. Probably not super powerful against Primaris, because it seems like all their tanks are going to fly. Could be good against Igard, although they'll have screens, and so on and so forth. So I think they're worth squeezing in. I don't think they're worth going all in. They got a pretty decent little volume of attacks. Even if you just charge a little 5-man scout squad, they're fighting them forever. Those scouts probably not killing this thing anytime soon. And as long as you're on the battlefield, you're potentially disrupting enemy psychers, as it says right here in the key features. So hope you enjoyed this one. Check out the links below if you're interested in anything I like. Also, please subscribe. We got a lot of Slaanesh videos coming up in the month of July.